All right, everyone, welcome back. Today, I've gone searching for the best Canadian REIT funds on the TSX, and I put them all head to head to see which ones come out on top. I was surprised by the lack of options on the TSX for strictly Canadian REIT funds, as there's only 4 options that make the cut, but you'll have your due diligence done by the end of this video on all 4 of them. Now, the rules of this competition are as follows. To make the list, a fund simply has to be, let me go down in the corner. There we go. Perfect. The rules are really simple. It's got to be exclusively Canadian focused. We're only looking at the Toronto stock market. We're only looking at Canadian real estate investment trusts. And secondly, we're looking for longer term investment opportunities, so nothing that is leveraged or nothing that is inverse. So those would be much more speculating opportunities as well as options. Now, they can be good options, however, they are not what we are looking for here. Let's take a moment to talk about REITs in general. So firstly, they are subject to the vicissitudes of the real estate market in general. So an understanding of what's going on there is a good starting point to understanding how REITs funds perform in general. Secondly, I personally don't invest in any exclusively Canadian REITs or REIT indexes because there are much better global alternatives available, and I personally don't want to limit myself to strictly Canada when exposing myself to the real estate market. It's just a personal choice. Thirdly, many dividend investors are attracted to REITs because of their high dividend, but something to remember is that REITs have massive capital expenditure requirements, and these requirements can change for many good reasons at almost any time. The dividends should not be viewed as secure, is what I'm trying to communicate. And finally, not overpaying for assets is an essential component of investing, so getting a good entry price is essential. So, now as I mentioned, this leaves us with only 4 options, and today we'll be looking at and ranking all of them. Now, I performed my own deep due diligence on each of these funds, spending at least an hour reviewing their methodologies, their holdings, their historic pricings, their distributions, total return, stability, just how I think they perform in general. Now, I of course recommend that you do the same for yourself, but consider this a cheat sheet, and I'll be covering everything essential that you need to know. By the end of this video, you will be an informed investor. Now, needless to say, this took a bit of time to make, so if you enjoy my content, it really means a lot to me if you hit the like, share, subscribe, whatever the YouTube buttons are. I enjoy making this content, and I hope you are enjoying and getting a lot of benefit out of it. So, without any further ado, let's jump right in. Now, the 4th fund on my list is actually number 3. So the truth is, let me put that over a little bit. Perfect. So all of these funds I would deem as average. I don't think that any of them stand out in particular as fantastic. I'm glad that they exist, and I'm glad that they allow us to get exposure to them. However, I don't consider them to be fantastic A+ investment opportunities, provided or you want diversification and you're able to get in at a very good price point. So because they're only average funds, they're all kind of grouped together. That being said, XRE, this is the S&P TSX Capped REIT Index ETF, is at the bottom of the list. Now, it pays a monthly dividend. Now, all of them are going to pay a monthly dividend, but it has a rather high expense ratio of 61 basis points there. As we see the returns, a 10-year return, we're looking at just over 5%, 3.5%, 4%, almost 2% over the past year. Nothing really jumps out in particular as spectacular. All right, and next up on the list, we have in the number 2 spot. Oh my goodness, let me go back. Perfect. Okay, in the number 2 spot, we have ZRE. This is the BMO Equal Weight REITs Index ETF. Now we see immediately at it has a slightly higher expense ratio of 2 basis points. However, it has significantly more holdings. 22 versus XRE 16. So immediately we have a lot more diversification inside of there. Interestingly, though, the assets under management are about half, 575 million. Now just a quick look at those total returns. It has outperformed slightly on a 10 and a 5-year timeline. However, it has not outperformed on a 3 and a 1-year timeline. I think that's because a lot of the distributions are very, very steady for this one. This is something that BMO is very good for. They're good at income investing. So here we are on the fund page itself. And we see, here at the top, monthly frequency distributions. It also is rated at a medium investment risk. And continuing on down, we can see perfect. So it's paid out 9 cents at this year. And looking back over the historic amounts, we see, look at that steady 9 cents being paid out every single month. Steady 9 cents being paid out every single month. Ooh, a bit of a Christmas bonus there with a 10-cent jump. And then boom, back to 9 cents solid. Back in 2020, being paid out 9 cents per month, even during the excitement of March and April of the 2020 run, there were steady returns. Now before that, we go back to 2019, and we're starting to see a little bit of a change inside of there, 0.85, so there was actually an increase. Yep, this is a very good income fund. So somebody who wants to have steady returns, monthly returns that they can budget off of for their monthly expenditures, this is an excellent option for them. As far as total return goes, we're going to see that there are some better options available. However, with the particularly with the retail REITs, and this is very heavy in retail REITs and industrial and diversified REITs, this fund has historically bounced back better than some other funds. So if you're able to buy it at the absolute bottom, this one has done quite well. Being very heavy into the retail sector, you can expect that historically it has performed well. However, that lot of that very high expense ratio of 0.63% or 63 basis points does make me balk at recommending it to anyone who does not require that income. And finally, we have in the number 1 spot a tie. I'm going to give this one to 2 funds because they performed well they performed different functions, I'd say. So first up is the Vanguard's answer to the REIT index. I like this one a lot because its returns have been solid over time. It's consistently beat out its competition over a long time period. Really good returns over the past 1 year, but 2023 was a rather interesting year to say the least. Oh, I should say that all of these returns are as of December 31 of 2023, because that's when I took all of these return periods from. That's when the fund websites themselves have presented these numbers to us. It seems like an excellent time to take a look at them. So if you are looking for a good REIT index fund, I do recommend going Vanguard. Vanguard fanboys have to take it one more time. They do have the lowest expenses. They do have a very low amount of holdings, only at 16, and for whatever reason they have a lower assets under management as well. However, they've performed quite well. I like it a lot, and if you are a long-term buy and hold investor, Vanguard takes the cake again. Now, if you are inside of a registered account, there is another option available to us from Horizons, HCRE, the Horizons Equal Weight Canadian REIT Index ETF. Now, this one has a much lower cost basis of 33 basis points. Here, let me pull it up here. So just pull it up. Yeah, here we can see a much lower expense ratio of 33 basis points. However, this one is pay a dividend. It is a total return index. So this would be good for somebody who is inside of a registered or non-registered account who wants to defer their capital gains tax or any income tax. Now, I would feel remiss without mentioning that there are better, possibly different total swap options available. I do recommend for somebody who wants a total swap option, they go up to the other products and look at HXT. This is the S&P TSX 60 Index ETF, and it is a total return index that has been proven for well over almost 25 years at this point. It has performed very admirably and is going nowhere soon. So that would be another alternative to look at as well. But there we have 4 REIT indexes that we've gone through today. So let's just go through them all together one more time as we conclude. So XRE, it's a shame. This is a very, very large fund. It's obviously very popular, over $1 billion in assets under management. I can't recommend it though. It has underperformed its colleagues, for long-term investors, for just buy and hold forever investors. It hasn't done quite as well. Now ZRE, that's going to take the second spot. It's very well diversified. It has a solid return history behind it, looking at 6% over the past 10 years. That's not bad considering how low interest rates have been. It pays out monthly dividends that are extremely consistent. So if you need this in retirement and for your income portfolio specifically to budget for, this is a fantastic instrument for this. And then in the number 1 spot, we have the 2 winners, the ones that I would actually recommend people who want to invest in the Canadian REIT sector and do so. And that is Vanguard's answer to the question, which is the VRE, the FTSE Canadian Capped REIT Index. It's got a very relatively low expense ratio to it. It has quality holdings, fewer assets under management, but you are going to get those monthly distributions. And if you are looking for just the total return and you want to defer any capital gains tax that you could have, then HCRE is the one that you are looking for. That is the best way to capture the REIT, a Canadian REIT total return index for somebody who doesn't want to pay taxes. So to conclude, do you own any of these funds? I'm very curious to hear about why you invested them, which ones you like, which ones you don't like, how they perform for you, what your entry price would be. Personally, as I said, I do not invest in any Canadian REIT indexes. If I would like real estate, there are some very good global alternatives available. We will be covering those next. We're looking at global alternatives, as a lot of these global REIT indexes cover a lot of Canada as well. So there's just simply better options available to us as investors. Remember, if you do hold a lot of these, or you do hold a lot these funds, or if you really enjoy these funds, that's okay. It's just simply my opinion. However, I'm right. I'm kidding. Yeah. It's important to get in at a good asset price, and it is very important to understand what you're buying and how that specific sector market works. If REITs are not necessary for every portfolio, and it is important to remember that if you own a total market index, you already own REITs. They're going to make up 3 to 5% of the Canadian or any real market index. So if you own XIC or something like that, you already own REITs and the Canadian REITs, and you don't need to over diversify into them. That being said, if you would like to get the returns of them, they have performed well over the past 30 years or so, and have been largely uncorrelated to a lot of the stock market. So as an active investor who's looking to get a good asset price, this is some good there are some good options out there available to us. Thank you so much for watching my video. I really enjoyed making this for you. If you have enjoyed watching it all the way to the end, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and your interest in what I have to say. Remember, if you are investing your money, if you hold any of these funds, you're watching videos like this, you are actively making your future better for yourself, and you will reap the benefits of it. I am proud of you. I know that a lot of us investors are solo and we don't like to talk about it, and we don't really have anybody in our own personal life to share about it. particularly when we look around and see that some of our contemporaries are not performing as well inside of the world while we are secretly thriving. However, I am proud of you if you're on your path, and if you're just starting out and you're just learning about the investment world, REITs may not be the best for you. There might be other better investment opportunities out there. Keep searching. You are doing a fantastic job. Keep going, and I'm proud of you. Take care, man.